Trust me, I've been in this industry since 2013. Every time prices go down, they single you out and blame you as if you have done it. It's like everybody's hopes and dreams are in that banana. If everyone's latched onto this is, okay, this is the time to make all the money. And then, so if the hopes and dreams are in it, when the reverse happens, you've shattered their illusions. It's scary. You have to take it really, really seriously. A meme coin is attention. And we saw this with NFT communities. When people walk away, the attention disappears. Everyone's like, well, what happened to my utility? I was supposed to be doing this and you were going to be building clubhouses. And then they found out it was no. This is a technology that is the new layer to the internet. It's not just about tokens. What's unique about this technology is there's token incentivization built in, which is why these networks bootstrap so fast. It's currently $3 trillion as an industry. If I extrapolate out the rate of growth, the trend rate of adoption is twice the speed of the internet. As the internet slowed down in adoption rates because it gets more saturated, if we extrapolate the same, we get to about 4 billion users by 2030. So I think the asset class goes to $100 billion, and we're only 3% of the way there. So this is the largest, fastest accumulation of wealth in all human history that lies ahead of us. It's the big rebalancing, how everybody can get involved, whichever country you're in, however much you are, right? So it's the big one, the biggest macro trade of all time. That's primarily my interest in the trade.
Prepare to be captivated as crypto visionary Raoul Pal explore the groundbreaking intersection of AI and cryptocurrency. Raoul Pal unpacks how these two revolutionary technologies will not only disrupt trillions of dollars across global markets, but also redefine human consciousness and society as we know it. With just 6 years to position ourselves for the seismic changes AI will bring, this masterclass offers unparalleled insights into the future of technology, markets, and what it means to thrive in an AI-driven world.
The whole space is driven by network adoption. More people will join the network, the more applications that get built, the more valuable these networks become. Beyond that, it's then broken down to different companies or projects selling block space. That's all they do, which is a data storage and essentially that block or distributed ledger. And they've all got a different sales approach. Bitcoin has, we're the most trusted, we're secure. Ethereum is like, we're the broad big one. Solana's like, we're the fast retail. So everyone is selling block space. But again, we're all incentivized to get passionate behind these things because of the tokens. This whole thing is being driven by a big macro trend. The big macro trend is the debasement of currency. So as liquidity gets pushed into the markets every 4 years when the governments go and roll their debts, this is driven by everything I call the everything code, some work that I did showing that every 4 years governments need to refinance their debts. And what they do is inject massive liquidity to be able to do it and try and get interest rates lower. So as we do that, it creates a perfect 4-year cycle. And it's not going to go away until we get rid of the debt equations and everything else. So where are we in the 4-year cycle? I break them down by seasons, each year being a different season. Okay, winter being when liquidity is being taken away, 2022. 2023, spring. Okay, markets stop going down. People don't quite believe it yet, but you see green shoots coming, but it still feels a bit wintry and cold and miserable. Then summer, which is what we're finishing now. Macro summer is year 3, same year as the election cycles. And then we go into macro fall or autumn. It's the beginning of the year. We go into the next, also the fall or the autumn cycle. And that's usually the most explosive. So summer starts to rip, and then we hit what I've called the banana zone. Normally it lasts until about November because of this cycle. And we have different structures of these cycles. We had the last one, which it usually has a peak around tax season. So March, people have to sell some tokens to pay taxes. It falls for a bit and then it rips at the end of the year. Last time it fell 50% over that period in 2021. And then it ripped, but it didn't really extend and everyone kind of got caught out. 2017 and 13, well, they were different. They had the same cycle structure. It went to the summer, 2017, Bitcoin 10x'd from there in 4 months. And that's the blow-off cycle. So we don't know what we're going to get, a stunted cycle or a blow-off cycle, but thinking about the political change and what's been going on, the probability has to be towards a blowout cycle. So that will be much higher price than everyone expects. Most people have PTSD from the last cycle. and they don't want to overextend themselves, and they're worried that they're going to be caught holding the bag, which usually means they'll sell early because the markets give as much pain to the most number of people as possible. So let's play this through. Let's say we're towards the end of 2025. The US economy and the global economy's picked up. What happens is inflation usually picks up a bit and the central banks start raising rates or tightening liquidity in some form. And that slows down 2026. Doesn't mean we get a recession, but we get a slowdown. So unless we change that dynamic, there's no reason to believe the 4-year cycle won't keep repeating. It'll stop being repeated once we break the root cause of the problem, which is demographics. Bitcoin usually leads in spring and summer, and then Bitcoin dominance falls and alt season starts, including all the dead tokens. My guess is even stupid shit like Luna will go up, 5x. Why? Because it's now a meme about the broken cycle last time. Who knows what goes up? It gets crazy season, is the point. So that Bitcoin dominance part of the cycle, that starts dropping from here, and then we start having the old season. But nothing structurally looks different. In fact, it's very similar. When you map the charts, very similar to the 2016-17 cycle, and not dissimilar to the last one. You go on X and ask people where do they think Bitcoin peaks out. My guess is most answers are 150,000. Well, it's 93,000 as we're speaking. And that's not very... And most people are worried that it's going to peak early. So the PTSD, the collective trauma, is it's not going to go as high as you expect. I need to sell early to take some chips off the table.
Yeah.
And that's when normally you get a correction. Everyone says, thank God for that. And then it rips and everybody's caught.
So I got it.
And I've seen that so many times. And we've got new buyers now. We've got sovereigns. We've got giant family offices. We've got Middle East. We've got US government potentially. I think they realize it's a very cyclical asset. It's like tech stocks. It's very similar. They understand the volatility and they understand it's mainly 4 years. But there's a whole bunch of people who won't care, like the pension plans, because that's not their time horizon. Their time horizon is 10 years, 20 years. So they don't care about it. So most of those guys aren't really in yet, but they're likely to be buyers later in the cycle because they're not the fastest to pull a trigger. And so they might push the extended rally at the end of it as they come in. However late you come to this thing, you still realize this is the biggest macro opportunity of all time. It's a way of making money. If you think about it, Bitcoin has done 150% annualized returns since 2012, including 3 70% plus pull downs, drawdowns. 150%. Once you realize that, if you start with some capital, what is the point of even starting a business? All of my friends, they'll all be speaking here, Dan Moorhead, Dan Tapiero, all of these guys. We're all macro guys. We all grew up together in the industry. We've all left. Sure, we use macro frameworks to understand this, but none of us trade oil or currencies or whatever anymore. It's irrelevant. There's a really interesting dynamic. I've got an asset management business called Exponential Age Asset Management, and it's a crypto fund of funds, so it invests in crypto hedge funds. Why am I doing that versus the VC? We will do VC stuff as well in a different vehicle. Why? Is because the VCs get them early, or the early stage investors, like yourself. You get some liquidity and you want to take some profits in some of it. Fine, people like VCs dumping. Look, everyone's incentivized to try and make money. VCs take early risk. I get it. Why people hate it is because the secondary market is too small. Right, so you think of the entire professional capital in crypto, liquid markets, the hedge funds, let's call them those, they manage $8 billion. In traditional markets, it's $4 trillion.
Oh, wow.
So what we've got is a mismatch of liquidity. So these guys are now getting supernormal opportunities because the VCs sell, the tokens dump 60, 70%. If they're good projects, that's the hedge fund's job to go and say, I like that one, I hate that one, pick them up, and then you can actually do it again. Now, retail hasn't figured this out yet because they want to buy it on the news announcement. Hey, Monad's just been launched. I buy it and then it dumps. What they should do is wait for the dumps and then say, okay, where's the ruby in the dust here? What can I get? Because then you can make huge money out of them. One of the reasons you're not seeing those super high valuations yet is because liquidity has not been massive. Right? The more liquidity, people earn more money, funds make more money, businesses make more money gets recycled up the risk curve, and people start taking bigger risks. So I think it's still to come, But the VC markets had no exits outside of tokens. There's been no equity exits in any project. We need Circle to go public or get bought. We need some of the, Kraken, we need some of these bigger things to recycle the VC money to then ratchet the whole space up again. So let's say there's 1 million active people in the industry. Well, that's 1 million people's attention. And you've got 10,000 tokens launching a day. How much attention can we give to anything? So it really is this game of attention, and memes have got it now because everyone believes that they can make the next 100x. NFTs as a technology you can use for everything. Ticketing, any contractual term, OTC derivatives, you name it. So they're going to get used a lot. And I think Punk 6529, who talks about this may be larger than the underlying tokens themselves. Yes, because everything we do as humans has contracts. And this is, NFT is a contract, essentially a smart contract. But then what's really happening, the big move in NFTs is high-end art. So memes, yes, we've had those and everything else, but this iteration of memes is something I've been talking about for a long time, which is, these are social tokens, these are community tokens, and this is experimentation happening in real time at massive speed. So yes, I'll participate, I own some memes, stuff like that. But really, what I want to see is the same thesis we had before. I want to see the down 90, and I want to see what comes out the other side. Like we're seeing it from PFPs. I think my guess is punks will trade at new all-time record highs. We're seeing it with the digital art stuff. We saw it with Solana. We saw it with ETH the cycle before that. It's the ones that survive, that have the Lindy effect out of this meme. So we have got the elephant in the room, which is AI. We've got AI in the robots coming for our jobs. And that's just the start. And the disruption of this is total and absolute, right? Because human knowledge, which was scarce, becomes infinite. And everything digitized goes to zero in value. Everything. And that's what blockchain technology did. Block technology creates a digital scarcity. Because if not, you can create endless pieces of digital art, let's say. But now you can't because you've got scarcity. But AI is going to create infinite knowledge. So infinite knowledge means zero value for a law and accounts and whatever over time. And then when you can create robots, you can infinitely create as many robots as possible. So, okay, what does that role leave for humans? Forget about the universal basic income, blah, blah, blah. If you take a fact that humans don't have to go to a job for a living, we still want a sense of purpose. We want a sense of optimism. We want to be able to make money, and we want to have a purpose. We're social creatures by nature. So once you see this experimentation, what we're seeing is a bunch of very online people who are wildly disconnected in the way I grew up, which was we would go to the pub and chat. None of these guys do. Right? Most of them don't drink, they don't socialize. They socialize on video, Twitch streams, or on X, or on Discord. So you need to connect people and their ideas and make you feel part of something. Now, we've seen this model before. It's called sports teams. Sports teams give you a sense of community. If you grow up in Liverpool, you'll probably support Liverpool or Everton Football Club. And it gives you a sense of community and commonality with other people around you. We do it with music. It's a cultural phenomena. And music is a really broken industry where the artist gets like 20% of the revenues that are generated by them. So what we've got now is the ability to gigantically scale communities. It's something you've been trying to do, something I've done. It's Taylor Swift's economy is so big, it moved the Australian economy, the Singapore economy, the US economy, and the UK economy, that all the central banks mentioned it, right? But how much is she worth? $1 billion. How much is the Taylor Swift economy worth? Multiple hundreds of billions of dollars. You can't release that, but tokenization can. And then we can be incentivized to be Taylor Swift fans and, generate merch and generate whatever, and you create this token economy. That's what this is all doing. It's the future purpose. We've seen it also in gaming. So kids hang out online in games. When I used to go to the shopping mall with friends and go and meet them, kids now hang out in Minecraft. And again, once you start adding ability to monetize this, you don't need to work. We're going to be at home. I got it. Even if we're given universal basic income, how are we going to find our purpose as humans, right? We're not hunter-gatherers anymore. We're not farmers anymore. We're not doctors and lawyers anymore. What the hell are we? I mean, because this is Metcalfe's law squared. This is what's known as Reed's law. This is the fastest exponential curve humanity's ever gone through. It's happening in front of our eyes. It was only 2 years ago that ChatGPT 3 came out,
That's crazy.
or 2 came out, I can't remember 3. And now look what's happening. It's insane. And the next models are about to come out any day now, and it's just going to keep going. The last iteration of ChatGPT 1.0, it has an IQ of 120, which is more than the average human, which is 100. But it has an IQ of 120 in every single subject known to mankind. It's a pure polymath, an expert at everything, better than the average person. Now, they suggest that, unlike Moore's law, which is the doubling of computer power every 2 years, it looks like intelligence of AI is doubling every 6 months. So that means in 6 months' time, we'll have an AI with an IQ of 240, which is about as high as humans have ever had recorded. And then the year after that, we're at 500,000. And then it's like, okay, this is lower land. This is AGI. It's like, we don't understand, because we're humans and we're so arrogant that we just assume we're the smartest things that ever live. That is not going to be the case very, very soon. So we might as well invest in our own future, in our own demise. And my view is we've got 6 years before we break the entire economic model of the world. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but GDP growth trend rate of GDP is driven by 3 factors only over time, longer periods of time. Population growth, productivity growth, debt growth. Debt growth finished in 2008, and we're just increasing debt to service old debts now. Population growth, every single major population in the world is shrinking. Old people are less productive, so productivity's gone down. Okay, so that's the world we're in. And I've proven this. I use the labor force participation rate of the United States. I can use it for any country. And if I invert debt to GDP, they're completely the same chart. So debts are just a function of demographics. The only way to change that equation of having to refinance the debts every 4 years, that cycle we talked about, is going to be changing the economic formula. And what we're about to do is we're going to add infinite population growth. And then by the time we bring down the cost of electricity via solar, nuclear, and all the other things, plus the productivity from the AI and the robots, that productivity number is going to go la land. So we can see economies growing at 30% a year. Additionally, think about, we were talking about, you build a bot that trades well. Now we can do it already, but within 6 months, I'll be able to drop it into ChatGPT and said, code a better version of this, and I want it on a different time horizon. It'll do it instantly, right? So all you've done is build a business based on attention only now. You do not have a moat in any software at all. It's the end of the SaaS business model. There is no moat. Moat is going to be community and attention, but it's not going to be in product because we can copy everything in an instant. The other thing is, and this was a great question, Beeple, the artist, asked me, he's like, Raoul, I was jokingly over a few drinks, he's like, what happens when the first person with AGI just points at financial markets? They just win the game. They become worth 10 trillion. We have to shut the markets down. I thought about that, and it's like, whether it plays out that way, we stand no chance as humans. How do we price markets when a super creature can see everything? Then you have the luxury of having secured your lifestyle, that the uncertainty can play out, that it doesn't matter. You don't need to be the richest person in the world, you just need to be the most secure. Trust fails in a world of AI and everything else, right? So people want to trust somebody. I think what humans do is build communities around them. So community is a moat. It's the social idea that we talked about. It's the idea of coalescing a group of people around certain memetics or a cause or whatever it may be. In fact, most causes are memetics.
Yeah.
It's doing that. So personalities do not unless they have community. It's the death of personalities. That vacuous head on TV who does that, doesn't matter. We can make them with AI. It's irrelevant. We'll make thousands of them. What matters is somebody who matters to the people around them. They feel like they're the mentor. They have a connection. They have a commonality. There's another thing we haven't talked about that I need to talk to you about is, have you seen character AI yet? It's mind-blowing. Some of these have 500 million conversations already. They've only been going a year. Listen, a world where we have total abundance, where almost everything is close to free, is amazingly liberating for humanity. The issue is when you have a world of AI and robots, there's no reason to procreate, which is what I think Elon actually is talking about. You see, the more our population doesn't procreate, the more we are incentivized economically to build robots and AI at a faster pace to offset the humans. And eventually, we replace ourselves. So this whole, when you listen to Elon talking about interplanetary species, he does not talk about physical, he talks about consciousness. And that's a whole other conversation about what are AI models, and are these large language models just portals into human consciousness? But humans are so narrow-minded, we think of everything, and Ryan wrote this in sapient terms, is we think of humanness as intelligence. We are so wrong. We are so wrong. It's difficult to know, but there feels like there is some sort of truth to the concept that is as old as any religion, which is universal consciousness. And it always sounds weird, but why do all the religions have the same thing? And then when you start to looking at things like, there's theories of how the universe, that it keeps folding in on itself, right? So is that itself consciousness of everything that's known, and the idea of quantum theory, meaning everything can be anywhere at the same time? We don't really know what this all is, but we know that everything has compute. We are biological compute by substrate. Right now, for most of the stuff we're using silicon substrate for compute. It's actually highly inefficient, which is what we're learning now. But there's a whole bunch of people like the Jeff Bezos or whatever his name is.
Jeff Bezos.
He's I think he's from Montreal, a AI guy who is building biological substrate. So if you think about our human brain, we use very little, few kilowatts of power to generate enormous amounts of compute. So we're already seeing a lot of experimentation on that. That's an explosive thing. But once you realize that actually everything is compute, we're all the same structure of the same atoms that's everywhere around us, and they have been recomposed and reused in multiple different ways over the millions of the billions of the years of the planet and the universe. But if you think of a tree is biological compute, but at a different time horizon. It has limited compute, but there's still a reasonable amount of compute, but it happens at small time horizons. It doesn't make instant decisions like us. And once you start looking at the world this way, and this is what the Ryan's talking about, is the myceli, which is the largest living organism on Earth, is actually fungus. So it's larger than the Great Barrier Reef. These connected, so these are super connectors of knowledge. And I think of a tree again. A 1,000-year olive tree is 1,000 years of recorded knowledge. I'm a non-religious person. I've now got to the belief that it is all God. The whole concept of God, this universal consciousness, is in fact something bigger. And it's difficult to describe, but I've been putting it into words over time as I write Global Macro Investor, as I'm trying to grapple with what this is, but it's all the same thing. So when people take ayahuasca, they come up with the same conclusion. When people take DMT, they come up with the same conclusion. When people have near-death experiences, they come to the same conclusion. Yeah, okay, they're the similar chemicals. All religions have come up with the same conclusion, and I think what we've just done is AI is just a discovery of another portal into understanding this. And this space is going from 3 trillion, I'm just going to reiterate this, 3 trillion to 100 trillion. So that journey, we are 3% there, and that is going to happen within 10 years, 2034. So you've got 10 years, and we're only 3% of that journey. Everything else is fucking noise.
Thank you for watching. If you found these insights valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more transformative discussions about the future of technology and markets. Stay tuned for more, and take charge of your position in this rapidly evolving world.